So just for a bit of context, when Koki invited me to speak here, I wasn't sure what qualified me to share my views because I don't have, developed positions on the death penalty. But she assured me that I could just come from a very personal point of view. I have a background in philosophy, and I can't help getting philosophical. So that's one of the approaches I'm using. And forgive me for if I go a bit abstract at times. So earlier this year, Kokila, Rocky, and I were part of a course that was about how to embody what matters to you. And as part of that course, we were supposed to develop a daily commitment that we would affirm on a regular basis. So just to start off with, I'd like to share the commitment that I've developed for myself. And it goes like this. I am a commitment to overcoming all the separations that cause us pain, and to the ongoing healing of myself, my family, my friends, my communities, human and non-human, and the entire living planet, for the sake of experiencing this life as a wondrous miracle. So as you can tell, I'm pretty committed to life and healing, and so it's no surprise that I would be against the death penalty in Singapore. I believe that one of the root problems of our civilization is this notion of separation, that we are separate from nature, we're separate from others, and even from ourselves. A related problem is the idea that things have a core, unchanging reality that gives them their identity. In philosophy, this is known as essentialism. Essentialist beliefs are responsible for a lot of racism, the idea that some races are inherently worse than others, and sexism, the idea that one gender is inferior to another, just to name a few examples. I would include the death penalty in this bucket of essentialist ideas. That's because the death penalty is the belief that we can isolate some core, unchanging part of reality, and by eradicating it, we achieve something desirable, such as justice or crime prevention, or a sense of safety and security. But as much as it would be convenient for us to segregate reality, this is not possible. The death penalty is a product of an illusion, the illusion of separation and essentialism. The fact is that we are all entangled beings. Our bodies consist of 90% non-human DNA. The air we breathe is shared with everyone else. Our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all influenced by our environment. Our existence is fluid and ever-changing. No two moments are the same. But the illusion of separation is reinforced by our culture, our society, our education system, our major institutions which rely on categorizing people, which you've heard a lot of examples from Kumar, and even the language we use. Most of our languages contain more nouns than verbs. So it seems more natural to think of reality as consisting of static objects that don't change. But it would be more accurate to think not as much of myself as Unsu, but as unsuing. Because I'm always in motion, always changing, always evolving. The illusion of separation creates powerful needs in us, needs for security, predictability, safety, and control. We think that if we just dispose of what is not working for us, everything will be fine. But things are not that simple. Most of the people on death row are there because of a multiplicity of interacting issues, such as poverty, discrimination, childhood abuse, etc. The death penalty is almost blinding in its effect, obscuring the complexity of these social issues and allowing us to hide behind a simple and reductionist idea that it's all the fault of some flawed human being who is disposable. I would like to take a more challenging but ultimately more fruitful road. For the past 2 years, I've been studying nonviolent communication, a unique fusion of psychology and spirituality developed by an American Jew named Marshall Rosenberg. At the heart of nonviolent communication, or NVC, as its community of practitioners like to call it, is the insight that every human being is trying to fulfill universal needs, such as love, belonging, joy, peace, connection, authenticity. Even those who harm us are trying to meet some universal need. It's just that they've chosen an unfortunate and tragic strategy to meet those needs. With this perspective, I can understand that those who support the death penalty are trying to meet their needs for safety and security. This is a need that I share with them and with everybody else. We might choose different strategies to meet these needs for safety and security, but those needs are universal. Likewise, I can understand that someone who has a difficult relationship with substance abuse is also trying to meet their needs for pleasure, relief from pain, acceptance, play, freedom, rest, escape. You can adopt this perspective with every actor within the system, including the families of those on death row, the prison guards, ourselves as activists. Everyone is struggling to meet our needs and are often choosing unfortunate and even tragic strategies to meet them. It is slow and painstaking work to arrive at some empathy for our own needs, as well as those of others. But when we make the effort, we are able to collectively put all our needs on the table and find better strategies to meet them. It's very possible that those who support the death penalty might find that there are better strategies to meet their needs for safety and security, strategies that don't compromise the needs of others. It's also very likely they may never arrive at this change in thinking until they are forced to. For example, if they discover that someone in their family, a sibling or a child, has a substance abuse issue, or when they read powerful and compelling stories of those who are on death row, and then their eyes will be opened to a reality in which the full spectrum of other needs must now be confronted and engaged with. When we make a good faith effort to consider everyone's needs, we may collectively arrive at different strategies that can accommodate more of those needs. We may, for instance, conclude that decriminalizing drugs and treating addiction as a public health issue is a more effective way of meeting our needs for care and acceptance without compromising those of safety and security. It is my hope that we all learn how to have greater empathy for ourselves and for others, and that we can move towards a world in which we stop resorting to violence as a strategy. For violence is, to me, one of the most ineffective strategies in the long run for meeting our needs. It might have some short-term expediency, but it almost always has tragic long-term consequences for ourselves. Ultimately, it is not just this absence of violence that I want, but an active appreciation of life as a wondrous miracle. And the death penalty is simply not consistent with this vision of life. Thank you.